Good morning, Michael. Good to see you again.
Good morning, Yang.
In Munich, in person.
I really enjoyed that.
Yes, it's been a long time for us to get together too during this incredible pandemic. It's been hard for everybody. I know for Harman's family, as well as the others that want to be together. It's been a difficult time. How have you been?
So far, so good, Yang. You know, I took over as CEO in April last year. And since then, I wasn't able to meet too many people, to travel around the world. And you know me, so I love traveling, being together with people. This is definitely something which I'm missing.
So you are the pandemic CEO.
It's a negative wording, but at the final end, it is what it is, yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, you can only go up now. So, not many people may know about Harman. So just for the audience, I would just say that I'm very happy to see Harman as a part of Samsung family, acquired by the company 2017. And of course, you're a member of the management team at the time as a COO, running the operations. Now it's almost 4 years since the marriage happened. And I don't know that many people know Harman. So it'll be great for you to talk about Harman as a company, give some background and what you do.
Very good. So let me start with a little bit with the history, right? So because Harman has a very rich history, a strong legacy. And it goes back to Dr. Sidney Harman, who was the founder, together with his partner, Bernard Carden. So now you understand, Harman, Carden. Yeah. So they founded the company together in 1953. And back to Dr. Harman, whom, by the way, I was fortunate enough to meet several times. He was an engineer by trade, but then a visionary, an innovator, an entrepreneur by nature. And from the very first beginning, his target was to really transform the way people are listening to music, are enjoying music. And from the beginning, Harman was pushing the boundaries of innovation and really delivering industry first into the market. And you and I, until now, we are talking a lot about industry first and differentiation in the market. So that goes far back in history of Harman really driving industry first. I give you a few examples. Harman was the company launching the very first FM radio, the first stereo receiver, which we just saw. Then we also launched the very first cardioid microphone under the brand of AKG. Then later, also moving into automotive, Harman was a company bringing wireless Bluetooth connectivity into the car. The first cassette deck in a car was coming under the name of Becker, which had been bought later by Harman. So a lot of industry firsts, which we have seen. And then, of course, Yang, we have a very strong brand portfolio. So in these first phases and the first years and decades of Harman, driving for growth and innovation, a lot of strategic investments have happened. Just to give you a few, in 1969, JBL has been acquired from James B. Lansing. So also a big brand, iconic brand. Then we bought Mark Levinson. We brought AKG into the family in 1994. And also Becker. Harman Becker Radio has been acquired in 1995.
Becker Radio of Germany.
Exactly. Yeah. So by the way, when I joined Harman, nobody knew Harman. But when you asked in Germany, do you know about Becker Radio? It was well known and appreciated.
Right.
So this is more about history. Today we are designing, engineering and manufacturing connected solutions and products for automotive, for consumer, and then also for enterprises.
Great. So such an iconic brand. And of course, when Samsung decided to acquire, and in fact I led the acquisition as the President and Chief Strategy Officer of Samsung Electronics. At the time, 2017, it was the largest acquisition by Samsung. of the entities. And it was also largest acquisition by Korean company to acquiring international global entity. Also the experience of Harman in automotive. We believe the future of automotive was going to be connected. And just like smartphone had been connected device, all the technology we developed for UI, UX, modem connectivity, 5G, the semiconductors that are powering the compute network and memories will be very useful for automotive as well. So these are the two strategic reasons why we believe that it makes sense to create smart organization for the brand that people trust, the brand that people have been using for a long time, and global brand, clearly showing your comments about history of Harman with the background and others. Clearly it's a brand that are built over the years, and it's not a brand that was built over short time. And maybe, I think it's been over about 75 years?
True.
Yeah.
75 years is specifically, we have to talk about the anniversary of JBL. So we're currently celebrating 75 years of JBL. And this is, of course, we are very proud about that. By the way, we have special edition speakers, L100 here in the back of us. So it's a limited edition, 750 pairs of those fantastic speakers are going to be on the market. But coming back to JBL, as said, it's just one brand of the overall iconic house of brands which we have. But of course, one of the most important, one with the highest awareness in the market.
Right.
So founded by James B. Lansing, as I mentioned to you. And since then, JBL was always tuning and turning up the volume on sound experiences. You know that, Young. And we brought that further. In the meantime, you can find JBL on the stage, in studios, in cars, at home, in concerts. So wherever you're going out, wherever you are globally, you will find people really enjoying that brand and that sound, right?
So the idea is really from home to your vacation, all the way to you're on the way to work, at work.
Exactly.
You can never away from JBL too far, because as long as you believe in the audio experience as a part of human experience, clearly, we are with, JBL is with us.
Yeah.
And JBL plus other brand that of course Harman owns.
Exactly. Yeah. And not to forget exercising. Young, I know you're exercising, right? And I started exercising again as well.
Very good.
So I know what that means, exercising without music, without sound in the background. So really, energizing, I think that's important as well.
Yeah, in fact, I have, I've been spending some time in Berlin, and I have this group that I join. It's a boot camp. And we meet 7 a.m. in the morning, whether it's a snow or rain, whatever. And you know what? In the middle of our workout is always JBL. And then we all go around and listening to some of the musics, and they just give you that extra energy to do what you have to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, 7 a.m. is kind of early, So you need something to wake you up.
That's true, yeah.
So let's change a little bit to yourself, Michael. I don't know whether audience know you too much. Clearly, you are running a very large organization, 30,000 people plus. It's a business that has been established for a long time. It ran as much as $8 billion business year plus. So for the audience, I think it'll be good to give some background about you.
Very good, I will do. So Young, I studied technical-oriented business administration in Stuttgart. And after closing that study with an industrial master, it's called, I started my profession at Daimler-Benz Aerospace.
Oh.
Yeah. So working 7 years for Daimler-Benz Aerospace, a complete different industry. But my heart, to be honest, was always about automotive and audio. This is really enjoyment. So for me, it was a logical step after 7 years to really makes the next move and joining Harman in 1997. So it's close to 24 years ago when I joined Harman, and I started first serving as the Chief Financial Officer of Harman's automotive business. And then in 2010, I have been promoted to co-president of automotive and infotainment, which was a huge step, as you can imagine, for me.
Big change.
A big step.
Yeah.
Also challenging, but also, of course, I was able to gain a lot of experience during that time. And then in 2013, I moved into the president role of Lifestyle Audio. And Lifestyle Audio is a real success story. So, we were able to, together with the team, of course, with the whole Harman management, we were able to grow that business more than 10 times in less than 7 years. So this is a huge accomplishment.
Yeah. That is incredible, right? When you became CEO, though, last April, I remember because I'm a chairman of the board of Harman. In many ways, it was a very difficult time. I mean, the last year in the spring, when pandemic hit, everything shut down. All the retail stores shut down. Consumers were panicking. So tell a little bit about what you found. And how did you prepare management team to deal with the pandemic? And what are some of the experience that you have to manage as a CEO? Because clearly, as a new CEO, this was a crisis management 101, big time.
That's true. I think, first of all, let me state, Harman has seen over the last 3 decades various crisis modes, right? Think about 2008, 2009, when we saw the economic crisis, right? And especially with a huge impact on automotive. We had a tsunami crisis, where especially supply went down. So we had supply shortages.
The semiconductor shortage of 2011, 2012.
Exactly. So a lot of crisis modes. But what is specific with COVID was in the other crisis modes, thanks to our broad product portfolio in automotive, consumer, and professional solutions, we always had one business which was able to offset weaknesses of the other businesses. This was a big change with COVID, because in COVID, all of our businesses had been impacted. So we saw negative impacts across the board in automotive, consumer audio, as you can imagine, closing the stores, right, retail, and then also professional solutions, because gatherings, concerts were just cancelled. So no business there. The good story is what we are seeing is now in COVID, we are seeing a different speed of recovery. Consumer audio came back very fast. In fact, a lot of people turned to music during COVID.
Yes.
And a request demand for high quality audio increased during COVID. Recovery of our professional solution business is still slow. So we are seeing some trends of reopening. Concerts are coming up and planned again. So this is a positive sign. So we're expecting second half to be better in professional solutions. Automotive recovered faster than most of us assumed, right? But now we are seeing, as you know, a secondary impact through the Semiconductor Crisis, which is really negatively impacting the recovery in automotive.
Yeah, so the audience may not know what that means. So I'll give some background since I'm a semiconductor person. In a way, what happened is that during the pandemic, everybody was shutting down the valve. Of course, forecast went down. And then, of course, the supplier of supply chain, whether it's a semiconductor wafers or not, they have reallocate their resource to some other industry. And then when the demand for automotive came, there is a demand and supply mismatch because of the one demand is going up, two suppliers went to consumer products. Yeah. So, and of course, automotive is a special products with a special quality, special requirement, and therefore it is not easy to switch. Yeah. And it makes the whole industry very hard to adjust to this, what I call constrained environment. And it may last for a while because of the difficulty of switching. Do you think the automotive industry will learn from this experience to change the way they behave going forward, or how do you see it?
Yeah, I think they have to. And as we talk to customers, I think there is a clear understanding that we can't proceed in automotive like we did in the past.
Yeah.
Maybe let me just add one data point, Jan. A modern car, a premium car today has more than 100 ECUs.
Yes.
Right? And there you can imagine, if you're missing one single semiconductor, critical semiconductor, which you can't exchange through redesign, so this is stopping you producing this specific car. It might be just one single semiconductor stopping you. So I think automotive has to increase the commitment to semiconductor industry, because the dependency is now far higher than 10, 20 years back.
Right.
And I think flexibility, also from a lifetime perspective, has to increase. Speed, agility to react on those crises, having dual sourcing, and dual design of components is very important. What I see, we still have many cases where one car is depending on one very specific semiconductor, one IC or SoC, where a redesign is basically impossible because it takes 6 to 9 months to redesign, to qualify, and in that.
Yeah, and I think that, of course, the automotive grade is also constrained because you cannot just switch from commodity products, consumer products to automotive. So this whole area is going to be changing quite a bit. For the audience that doesn't understand automotive, my understanding, looking at it, and the reason why I think Samsung was very interested in automotive is because we see so much new electronic content that goes in there. Almost the automobile of tomorrow or today is going to be having a server, having a big compute engine, big network, many microcontrollers, a lot of memory, a lot of sensors that are acting like robotics, and then providing the connectivity and the detecting objects in your drive and communicating with the other vehicles as well as the homes. And these are profound opportunity for electronic companies like Samsung and Harman, which is why I think we are involved in this business. But obviously it's changing quite a bit, right? The automotive yesterday is not the future of automotive. Electrification is maybe one great example. So as the connectivity that are always connected, and autonomous driving requirements are going to change the way we do sensors and how we observe and how we behave. So maybe you can talk a little bit about how do you see the trend in automotive given the business that you are in, as well as what are some of the challenges that you see?
Yeah, I think it's a very good point, Jan. So you're talking about the mega trends in the future of mobility, which are pretty obvious, right? So we are talking about connectivity, autonomous driving, shared mobility, and electrification as a major part of future of mobility. And those megatrends are revolutionizing the automotive industry, not just tomorrow, already today, right? And requirements from consumers, what consumers are requiring from their car is changing completely. And that leads also to a situation where we clearly see, and that's also feedback I get from our customers, from the OEMs, automakers, that they are going to focus far more on in-cabin experiences than ever before, right? So the time which we are spending in a car will completely change. What are we doing? What will be the experience which is really meaningful for consumers in the future will change. With that, the assessment of the value of a car, including the residual value of the car, how we're selecting and buying a car will completely change. Yeah? So again, we call it experiences per mile, will be very, very important and a significant differentiator compared to traditional criteria, which you and I used in the past. For example, horsepower, right? For Germans, very important, horsepower, acceleration, maximum speed. So all these criteria today are still somehow important, but there is definitely a shift towards other criteria, and in-car experience is going to be more important. And back what you said, Jan, I think there is a clear convergence between consumer audio space, consumer electronics, and automotive. Because expectation from consumers in regard to the car, they are now related to integrating the car into the Internet of Things seamlessly, right?
Yeah.
Making the car like a mobile device, creating the car and making it a piece of your digital lifestyle with everything behind that. Connectivity, hyper-personalization, upgradability, future-proofing the car. Because when you buy a device, you always want to upgrade that device. You don't want to buy a new device because a new app is on the market. And this kind of transition is, converging. So basically, in consumer audio, when we look around, from a definition of a product, Jan, to a launch in the market, there are 26 weeks. This is the cadence and the speed.
And that is the consumer speed.
That's the consumer speed, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, that will take time, but the automotive part and industry has to converge in that direction. But there are also some learnings for consumer audio to be collected out of automotive, of course.
Yeah, I mean, clearly consumer products, when something doesn't work, you can just reset. You cannot do that in Autobahn when you're driving at 250 kilometers per hour. By the way, I do have a side question. Since we're in Germany, and I love Autobahn, do you think Autobahn speed limit, unlimited speed limit will continue? Or do you think it will change?
I have to distinguish, Jan, between my preference and what's happening, what's going to happen from my point of view.
Okay.
So let's start with my preference. Okay. I like driving very fast on the Autobahn. Therefore, of course, I enjoy that. But look, driving different counties of Germany makes a huge difference. There's still a lot of Autobahns which have just 2 lanes. On the Autobahn, which is very, very dangerous. And at the Fahrland, it's it's critical, dangerous. You have to focus on the street all the time. When you drive from time to time 250 kilometers an hour, you have to be extremely focused, and it's exhausting. When you're on a business trip, it's very, very tough to make that and not to create any accident. From that point of view, yes, I would love to continue to drive fast. On the other hand, what I see is, and coming back to what I said before, now I'm driving a hybrid car. I really enjoy, driving with that hybrid car. The sound is different. It's not as, exciting as the sound of a Porsche or a Ferrari. Yeah? But it's a different opportunity. It's a different feeling and a different exercise. So I enjoy driving with my hybrid 130 kilometers an hour, and it's good. You feel safe. It's a focus on environmental sustainability as well, your contribution. So I think at the Fahrland, coming back to your question, I think we're going to turn to a speed limit. That's my personal view. Very soon.
Probably more safer and more environmental and better for the green, I guess. Yeah. That's interesting. It'll be a challenge for all those folks that are used to having that power and exciting. Actually, I think there is an Autobahn tourism I hear. People are coming from all over the world just so they can drive in Autobahn, because nowhere or place can drive at 250 kilometers per hour, right? It's crazy. But okay.
So if you're interested, I can give you still some insights where you could.
Yeah, I've been actually driving in Germany, and I can tell you I did check out 250 for sure, and I realized that I love driving fast as well. Yeah. In the US, you're used to driving at 75 miles per hour. That's very typical high speed, and that is, like a 130, right? So it's not that exciting, but probably safer. I know that have reduced the traffic fatalities, and that's the way the life goes. Let's talk a little bit about the sound and audio, which is the brand that Harman really was built. What is coming? What is exciting things that we should expect as consumers that are out there in sound?
I think it's it's the good sound wherever you are, Jan. Yeah. So it's basically, and you have seen many of these topics already. So the different use cases. For example, let's take the portable audio. right? In many cases, we didn't talk about, going 10 years back, we didn't talk about portable audio. In the meantime, portable audio is a very, very important category, right? And you can distinguish between usability outdoor, right? You can use those portables if they're IPX7 graded, so that means waterproof. You can basically put them, you can dump them. So that is a combination of experience, freedom, and good sound. I think that's a combination which we have seen. On the other hand, a major trend, of course, and you're aware about that, Jan, is a true wireless. So really offering a wireless, a seamless experience, but together and combined with fantastic sound, usability in sports. So this is definitely a trend. We launched, the JBL Quantum set of gaming headphones. So this is a big category. To be honest with you, I underestimated originally. But what I see here is this market is really growing extremely fast.
That is the fastest growing sport, what I hear.
Yeah. So this is something where I'm very happy how we launched that product, how we're capturing that market now. So we started last year, but we see a significant growth and also an acceptance of our products. So by the way, we had a JBL big event, a gaming event, which we used in order to also talk about our brands and especially also our products, right? With great sound, and also in gaming, young accuracy. Sound accuracy is very, very important, right?
Oh, right.
When you game, because you have to hear exactly.
You mean like where is the bomb coming at you?
Exactly.
Or
Where is the enemy, right? Is the enemy left, in front, or back, on the right? So this accuracy is something very, very important. So, and as said, with these gamers, we created a community now,
right?
Which of course we are leveraging, to grow that segment.
Well, from our consumer electronic show experience, which we haven't been to now 2 years in a row, thanks to pandemic, but we love to show some of the audio experience to our potential OEMs and customers. And I recall that we had several sound initiative that you're working on to give a audience and consumers a unique experience in auto, outside of auto, as well as providing cloud-based sound profile so that everybody can tune based on their ability to hear, based on their ability of acoustic capabilities. Maybe you can talk about that a little bit.
So I think the idea started young with what we call the penetration of branded and premium audio experience in a car, right? So the market is producing around 70 to 80 million cars a year, the automotive market. And around 10 to 15% of this market is really coming with a premium and a good audio experience.
That's important.
So this is, there you can imagine, we're just covering 15%, 10 to 15%. So 80% of the market, 85% of the market is not coming with a really good audio experience. So how are we addressing that? And that goes also into upgradability in the future. And personalization in the future. That's what you were talking about. So let me give you an example. In the future, when you buy an automobile, and I'm referring a little bit to me, I'm a Swabian, by the way. Swabian is a German who is trying to save money all the time. So, and when you buy a car, usually you care about everything in the car, the design, the engine, and the net. And branded premium audio might not be the first selection for you.
I mean, for the money savers.
Exactly. So then you buy the car, you own that car for the next 12 up to 15 years. But right after you bought the car, you come to the conclusion, oh man, I'm missing a good sound quality. So, and here's the solution Harman is offering you to download an upgrade after your purchase of the car, download an audio experience into the car. And that could, by the way, be what we call personify. So really personalization of your sound experience, addressing your ability, how you're listening to music, how you can listen to music, what you're hearing, ability, and then also your equalization preferences.
So this is more cloud-based solution. They can tune based on your preference, and the hardware doesn't have to change when you do that.
No,
I think that's very important. Yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe let me give you one example which I find very interesting. You're going into a small car. I don't want to name any brand, with a basic system. That basic system really doesn't sound good, but it's a base system. You can listen to radio. That's it, more or less. So through that download, you could download Harman's virtual venue application. That would bring any preferred venue into your car through reverb application. So you're able to choose what you want to hear, the title, what you want to hear, but you also are able then to choose if you want to hear that in the Sydney Opera. And we can turn a very tiny, small car with a small, narrow cabin into a venue like the Sydney Opera.
So based on certain acoustic profile of the experience of whether it's a theaters or a orchestra or stadium, you can imitate that, and it's all profile that you're talking about.
Exactly.
And it's all about software, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It wasn't about just having a big bass and big sound. It's all about how you tune your acoustics. So in a way, acoustic business is sound business, which is really a software business.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we call it also hardware. Software is substituting hardware.
Right.
So you can do significantly more with less hardware, as long as you have the right software competence, and you're really able to deliver that DSP into the car after the fact through over-the-air updates.
Great. Now, I also know that you have some world-renowned, around the world, global ambassadors representing JBL brand and others. Can you introduce some of the people that we work with? I think it'll be great because I think people can relate to some of the musicians and sports players and others.
Yeah. Quincy Jones.
Yes.
You know,
legend.
A legend. We have Harman in India. So that's more the music space. BB Rexha. So, of course, we are focusing especially also on next generation people, Generation Z, for example. We have just announced Martin Garrix, DJ, very well-known DJ. Then, for example, in sports, we have Hernandez, a soccer player. I know you're a soccer fan as well. Hernandez is a defense player of FC Bayern Munich, so close to this place here. And then Van Dijk, also a defender in Liverpool. So these are the types of people we have gathered around, and we are really leveraging. So it's a great partnership.
I think Steph Curry was also a brand ambassador at one point, right? Yeah, the Golden Gate Warriors. I think he's the best shooter in the world. And I noticed that he wears JBL and he was warming up, and I thought that was great brand marketing, because when he's warming up with that thing and everybody, paying attention to how he relaxed, how he's getting ready for the game, and the unbelievable performance, of course, that comes out of that. Of course, I'm sure part of contribution is having the right sound system to motivate him.
So, by the way, I forgot Lang Lang, of course.
Oh yeah, Lang Lang in China. So
sorry, Lang Lang, for forgetting you. Yeah. But he's a good friend. A very strong ambassador from us. I think all in all, there's not a big pressure. It's seeding of our products is very easy because everybody of our brand ambassadors is living that brand, is really enjoying that product and that sound.
I go to some of the small concerts before pandemic, Stevie Wonder and whatever is doing it, and I noticed that all these people, when they're doing a event, it's a JBL everywhere. So I'm very proud that Harman owns that brand and really kept up with the brand and continue to evolve the brand with innovation, right? Which I think is key, because without innovation, we all become dinosaur. But over 75 years, clearly Harman has innovating, keeping up with the brand, And this is a business where I don't think it's going to go disappear because everybody wants to hear the sound.
Yeah. So Jan, we were talking a lot about JBL, right? I think important also for the listeners to know that I think what makes Harman so strong is that brand portfolio, right? Especially in car audio, it's really relevant because automakers are asking for exclusivity. An audio brand is very, very important. It's, by the way, the only sub-brand accepted by OEMs, by automakers, right? So other than BMW, what brand is in that car?
So you mean like when you buy your BMW, and then you might want Harman Kardon sound system in it, or Volvo, whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's what you mean.
Exactly.
It's another brand, sub-brand, that what I call ingredient brand, that are making people to choose their, and audio is one of a great example of that sub-brand.
Exactly. By the way, Bowers & Wilkins is one of our brands. Bang & Olufsen for automotive is one of our brands. Not everybody knows that. Infinity.
Yeah.
Mark Levinson in Lexus. So that brand portfolio is extremely important, and it's really, I would call it a science to really combine and find the right brand fit between our audio brands with the automotive brands, right? So you can't mix each audio brand together with an automotive brand. There has to be the right brand DNA and the right fit to make that successful.
Yeah, you want to reinforce your brand.
Yeah,
with the right car, and they're supporting each other, which makes the brand even stronger. Right? That's the whole idea of a brand build. I know Ralph Santana, who is managing your brand management, is very good at managing all these sub-brands that he's managing with. Great. So when do you think we'll get to hear the JBL sound in Las Vegas? Yeah, I know you have a JBL live event and Grammys. Do you think 2022 is what we are targeting now?
At least for now. 2022, January is always young, is timing. So for now, CES in Las Vegas is confirmed.
Right.
And we have started all the preparations. As always, we are going to have our physical space in the hotel there. And we are showing, of course, all the businesses, cutting across automotive, consumer audio, professional audio, and also digital transformation services. All of our businesses will show the most of innovation in our products.
Yeah, I think during this pandemic, clearly the employees and the teams had suffered a lot, right? You know, working from distance, especially people that are really driven by brand and interaction with socially, very, very hard to market, how to relate, how to keep track of what's going on. And also, given that we have a very large team of software engineers that are in India, I know that we are going through a very difficult time. So can you tell a little bit about pandemic experience for Harman family?
So, yeah, you talked about that, Jan. We are affected across the border. So I think from a leadership point of view, we were following what I call the 5 C's, how we worked with the organization. And you mentioned before, I took over in April 2020. So I didn't meet the colleagues in US. I didn't meet the colleagues in India and in China. So, but how to care with the colleagues and our employees, which are our biggest asset in the organization, was a challenge.
Right.
So 5 C's, which we are still following, because we're still not allowed to travel as we would like.
Right. You still cannot go to America, right?
No, I still can't.
For instance, that's crazy. Yeah.
So care. I think most important is care. You know, the safety and health of our employees and our partners is of highest priority. So whatever we decided, health and care about our employees was the utmost preference and priority. Second, communication. Jan, I started very early in 2020 after taking over regular, very frequent multi-way communications. So that includes CEO video messages, but then also all hands meetings, giving people, our employees, the opportunity to ask questions, Q&As. So we did that over the last 1.5 years, basically. Very important, keeping that regular communication in order to keep transparency, to drive the trust, talking openly about challenges, but also, of course, celebrating success stories. So communication was the second C, which is still completely in place. Communication is, I'm a complete fan of communication, especially important in that area. Third, cost management. So we had to care about our cost to ensure sustainability, liquidity of our organization, but doing that in a wise manner, not making any concessions on our major strategic pillars, which are about innovation and then also developing people. Then customer commitment. We are not able, to make any concessions towards our customer commitments. So to continue to deliver in time, in quality was a must, right? And then last but not least, continuity, talking about our strategy. Our strategy is to create smart experiences which make life easier, productive and entertaining across all of our businesses. We constantly talked about our ambition, our mutual goals of the organization. And through these 5 C's, we were really able, despite all these limitations of traveling and meeting in person, we were able to really direct the organization and directing the whole organization towards a mutual common goal.
Very good. I think that is something that we could all subscribe to because the principle makes a lot of sense. Well, let me change subject, and it's one of my last question, and maybe a bit sensitive, but I think it's good, and I want to hear your perspective on this. Samsung has acquired Harman 4 years ago and has been working with the team. What is your view of what's working? What are some of the things Samsung collaboration can do better? What are the synergies that comes out of it? Because at the end of the day, when companies combine together, it's about creating synergy to create something better. So I would like to get your perspective on it.
So let's start maybe with the company culture. Jan.
Yeah.
I want to be very honest with you, and we met end of 2016, beginning 2017. We know each other since then. And I was not 100% sure how that collaboration is going to work out, right? And maybe, to share that, I was very positively surprised in the engagement of the organization, right? So there's openness in the organization. That's at least how I feel it. Into the organization, we met the top leaders of the organization. I was able to meet, our management team was able to meet. There was a big openness in that regard. That was a very positive experience up to now. When it comes to synergies, and this is not just my impression, so we hear that from customers, from partners, even from competitors. People were scared on the one hand, competitors were scared about what's happening. When you bring these 2 powerhouses together from automotive, audio, and Samsung as the mothership, I was expecting more out of synergies. I think we had a very good start at the beginning. I was very energized. But net, I think we can do better. There is a lot potential, huge potential still out there, which we are up to leverage, right?
Yeah. So what you're saying is Samsung as a mother company has and invest over $50 billion a year and has semiconductor, has a display, has a mobile, it has a network, it has all the critical elements of what I call connected car, connected business. And how do you share some of those R&D with where Harman is going, which is the human experience side?
Exactly.
And connecting those two, Samsung can learn about human side of experience, like audio, brand building, and Harman can take advantage of technology, like display and others, to address the new market need. How do you create that highway is still ongoing opportunity.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
So I think the point is, Jan, Samsung is a master when it comes to experience.
Yeah.
Right? It's big, highly experienced. And we talked about bringing experience into the car, right? We call it bringing consumer experience, automotive grade in a car. This will be a major opportunity in the market going forward. And if Harman and Samsung is working together, we can create together experiences nobody else can offer.
So it shows that large organizations combining together, it's a journey.
It's a journey, yeah.
And it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Absolutely.
And we have ongoing opportunities. Clearly, our synergy around 5G, I think it helped. Our software team at Harman with Samsung's, the mobile team and others, collaboration, AKG brand that are going bundling with Samsung mobile phones, that was positive. So there's a lot going on, but we can do so much more given the size and scale of the corporation. And I think global reach and global brand building of Harman and the experience-centric, which is very customer-centric, along with technology-centric company Samsung, I think that's a pretty good complementary match. And I look forward to continue to observe and watch how we can be able to build something that are great for our consumers. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Michael. Really appreciate it.